Golly, Dr. Lady, asked nobody, what's the first mask you ever owned back in prehistoric times when you were a kid? Welcome to the Mask Fanatic, by the way. And the answer is, I don't remember. It was an awfully long time ago, and a lot of masks have come and gone over the centuries. So I don't know what was actually the first mask I ever had. I know that, like most kids, I had a few cheap masks at Halloween. You'd get, you know, the little flimsy, floppy, flubbery, and the other four dwarfs. No. The little flimsy, thin, cheap Halloween masks, the rubber masks, and you've got those little plastic, cheesy, vacuum-formed plastic masks with the band across the back, the rubber band that would break the first time you tried to put it on. Remember that? Yeah, there would be those, but and then I had a little nicer and a little nicer, and I don't remember what was the first mask I ever had, but it was the custom that you work your way up from the really cheap and cheesy masks up to nice stuff like the cheaper lines by Don Post and so forth, and then the really good stuff by Don Post and Be Something, and you know, the more deluxe masks. And I do remember the first one I ever had that had hair, and when I was a kid that was like, wow, innovation, you know, it was a big deal. A mask with hair? How is that possible? It's so high-tech. And that mask, and I know I'm not particularly proud of this because I feel like I know you, I can trust you with this information, so I'm going to open up and tell you the truth. Because the first mask I ever had, which featured hair, in this case fur, glued on, was the Traveler's Wolfman. That's right. Now, why is it a Traveler's Wolfman? Well, it was made by a company called Travelers. And Travelers made lots of masks and were around for quite a few years. They were a novelty company, not strictly a mask company, although they did have a line of pretty common, pretty popular, affordable, full-head latex Halloween masks in the 1970s mainly, and on into the 80s. And, well, yeah. Now, the Traveler's Wolfman, seen here, came not only in black like the one you see before you, if you can see it before you. It's an awful lot of black going on, but it came not only in black but in brown and kind of an orangey brown color scheme. And yeah, there were, yeah. And if you think it looks familiar, except for a little bit of distortion, that may be because it was a very direct and blatant rip-off of the Don Post Studios Wolfman, which would later become known as Wolfman B. So that was before Don Post was calling their Wolfman masks Wolfman A and Wolfman B. There was just Wolfman, you know. So this one was the Travelers Don Post Wolfman B ripoff, and I don't know how they got away with it, but for years you would see lots of these masks that were obvious Don Post ripoffs. Travelers had a whole line going. There was their Don Post Karloff Frankenstein ripoff, their Don Post Phantom of the Opera ripoff, their Don Post Hunchback ripoff. They did a lot of those, and every year the novelty stores would have them. Now, of course, I didn't know any of that when I was a kid. I didn't understand the whole rip-offery aspect of it. I just knew the masks were cool. And one day in a store called Helen Gallagher Gifts in a shopping mall, and Helen Gallagher Gifts, by the way, later became Spencer Gifts at that shopping mall, and it didn't look any different to me. It was almost the same, except the name changed from Helen Gallagher Gifts to Spencer Gifts. I don't think that's actually like a nationwide thing that they all became Spencer Gifts, but there were Helen Gallagher. And anyway, Helen Gallagher Gifts back in the day had a lot of masks at Halloween, and well, it was back in the day when it was very exciting when Halloween was coming, because when you could go to the stores or the shopping malls or whatever, you could see these great masks. And Helen Gallagher Gifts at the Richland Mall, shopping mall in Ontario, Ohio, I first encountered masks with hair, including the Traveler's Wolfman, which again I did not know at the time was a case of almost piracy of Don Post product. I didn't think about that. But this was the first mask I ever had that had hair added to it, okay? And today, this mask and others like it are sort of petrified but it's amazing it still looks this good, really, considering it is from the 1970s. And you got to remember, back then they didn't really make these things as collectibles. People weren't collecting masks back then. They were just a novelty, a seasonal thing, like you know, like a printed tablecloth for Thanksgiving or something. They weren't supposed to be collector's items. They were just one use, and then nobody cares. But a lot of them, therefore, were destroyed because people wore them once and looked at them as single-use things and threw them away, or else put them away in the attic and put a heavy box of Christmas sweaters and Christmas ornaments and things like that, a box of flat irons and lead weights and pipes and bricks, put those on top of the mask, and they'd be destroyed. The mask would be ruined, you see. But some people had the foresight to stuff a little newspaper in them or whatever and store them a little carefully, and those people could get multiple uses out of their cheap Halloween masks from back in the day. You know, they could wear it, either it could become a family tradition that every year Dad gets out his Frankenstein mask or his Wolfman mask or whatever character it is and plays the same monster every Halloween, or you could be more creative. If you didn't want to wear the mask every year, you could do things like, you know, the first year you wear it, the next year your kid wears it trick-or-treating, maybe another year you have it on inside a window peeking out onto the porch at the trick-or-treaters, like up on a lamp with a stuffed shirt hanging under it or something. And the year after that, they might have it on the porch on a god-awful fake-looking dummy made of old clothes stuffed with crumpled-up newspaper, and the mask could be sitting there. Then, like maybe the next year, they could let their no-good drunken bum brother-in-law borrow the mask, and he could wear it for Halloween, and probably wear it to some bars and win the $50 cash prize. But do you think he'd tell the family that? No. He'd just keep that money that he won with the mask he borrowed from them. Yeah, but and no, that never happened that I know of. I'm just speculating. This is all speculation, you see. So anyway, the Traveler's Wolfman mask, extremely hard to come by today. Once in a great while, you see either this or the brown version on eBay or someplace like that, but very seldom, because people just didn't take care of them, and they're just well, they're not around in any great quantities today. And as you can tell, the way they have put the hair on here is not nearly as artfully designed and applied as the people at Don Post, but this was a very cheap alternative to the nicer and pricier Don Post masks, because Don Post Wolfman masks were selling for $35 to $45, which sounded like a fortune for a mask back in those days. This one, I will tell you, I will show you the evidence right here. Can you see that? It sold for $8.88. Okay, so back then, right, in the 1970s, you could get a full head latex mask, full head latex all over, including the back is also latex, with fur glued all over it, all right, teeth painted in. $8.88 for that? Sure. That's why they sold a gazillion of them. And as I said at the beginning of this lengthy discourse, I'm not especially proud of the fact that the first mask with hair I ever had was a traveler's mask and not a genuine Don Post. But hey, I didn't know any better. I was young. You know, back in those days, me, Laura, and Godzilla, we were all still in our youth, so things were very different. Today, all you can get for $8.88 is well, I don't know of any mask you can get for $8.88, but if you check at Mall Ward the day after Halloween, I'll bet they have some.